Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Johnny Finesse. Welcome back to the channel. Today we got Young Sauce to God again. He just dropped this video, growing up divorced with parents beat. Like, I don't really have divorced parents, so we about to see how it is. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. We on the road to 750 subscribers. I need y'all to hit that sub button. Go ahead, hit that sub button and the bell notifications too, so you don't miss a thing again. With that being said, let's get into it.
This one
smash
time
that like
during
button too,
lunch,
you feel me?
he came up to me and said that one
Put
day
the volume up in the brightness.
he was gonna marry my mommy.
Huh?
So I punched him in the stomach.
Had to. Like, who do you think you are, nigga? Like, who do you think you are, huh?
But now you all about that meat. Make a banger. Hey, bro! Hey, bro!
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, we see this guy turn up already. Watch his vlogs. His vlogs is actually kind of cool. I don't think he puts any more out. I haven't seen them recently.
The only memories I have of my parents living together is of them fighting with each other. I have one vague memory from when I was really little of my dad kissing my mom on the cheek as she was cooking in the kitchen. And that's pretty much the only memory I have of my parents looking like they ever really loved each other, which is unfortunate because my mom has a lot of pictures from when they were younger, before I was born, and you could see that once upon a time they were in love.
Why is he always in the same shirt? Why you got him in the same shirt for? You got him looking like a bum. Like, it's updating still.
Yeah, how much gigabyte? How much the these worth?
94 is at 94.
What was your shit at though? Like, what was the memory cost for it?
I don't know. I didn't check. It just said I needed an update, and I got an update.
Yeah, that shit should have been like 500 gigabytes though. 500 megabytes.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
I think I'm about to ask Alan should probably update too.
Alright, man. Motherfucker gonna fucking fuck up my fucking reaction shit. Like this bum ass nigga right here, he wearing the same fucking shirt.
Bro was born, and
that's the only time. That's the only picture you don't have the same shirt.
Once upon a time,
it's crazy.
They were in love. I believe I was about 4 years old when they got divorced, and it took me a long time to understand what that even meant. It made me very confused as a child about love, family, and marriage. I remember being angry and sad a lot as a kid, and not really knowing why I felt that way or who I was upset with. I remember when I got a little older, but still pretty young, like around 6 or 7 years old, if I had to guess, I remember spending Saturdays with my dad, and as he was bringing me back to my mom's house at the end of the day, I remember trying to convince him to come back home and make up with my mom and be one big happy family again. Of course, that never happened. You know, my dad would always say, "Son, when you get older, you'll understand." And he was right, you know, because as you get older, you understand that we are all deeply flawed people. Nobody's perfect, and no matter how strong your dad seems, he's just a man. And your beautiful mother, well, she's just a woman. And sometimes men and women fall in love, they get married, have kids, and then they break up.
Yes,
my mom was really beautiful when she was young. Not to say she's not pretty now if she's watching, but when she was young, she got scouted to participate in Miss Jamaica. And I mentioned that because I can remember being in like the 2nd grade, and I had this light-skinned classmate named Matthew, you know, a little fat boy. And anytime my mom came to the school, he would always mention how pretty my mom was.
That's
and
weird.
That really used to bother me. This one time during lunch, he came up to me and said that one day he was gonna marry my mommy. So I punched him in the stomach. It wasn't a fight. He never touched me because I punched him in the stomach like 3 times and he fell to the ground, and I told him, never say that ever again. And I didn't really get into fights in school as a kid, but I remember getting so angry when he said that, because in my head, my mom belonged to my dad. And of course, I knew that this little kid would never marry my
That's that meme right there. That's that meme right there.
mom. But I think it struck such a chord because even at that age, I understood that my mom was now single. So technically, a man that was not my father could marry her. If they were still married, this kid could never say something like that. So indirectly, it was like he was making fun of the fact that my parents were divorced. At least that's the best rationalization I can come up with now for why I got so angry at this other kid for saying what he said in the second grade. I really loved my dad growing up. You know, usually you hear that boys who grow up being raised mostly by their mothers become mama's boys. And I guess that's true for me to an extent, but I really loved my dad. He was my favorite person growing up. He was the coolest, strongest guy in the world, tall, muscular, and women love my father. Everywhere he went, he was always very popular with the ladies, especially at work. And I know that because my dad would take me to work with him sometimes. Actually, I would guilt my dad into taking me to work with him. When I was really little, my dad would pick me up from school and take me home. And as we pulled into the driveway of my mom's house, I would just start crying. I would cry hard, like bawling, bro, like I was dying. I would tell him I'm not getting out of the car and I don't want him to leave. So then he would ask me if I wanted to go back to work with him. And of course, I said yes. He worked at a big bank in downtown Kingston, and he would take me back to the bank and sit me in his cubicle, and I would sit at his desk and draw on printer paper for hours. In fact, that's actually how I began to draw, and where people started to recognize that your boy had a little talent. You feel me? He would hang my drawings up in his cubicle, and his coworkers would come around and compliment me on my drawings. So it was very encouraging. But eventually, we would have to go home for real. And when he would drop me off the second time, I would try to do the whole crying thing again to make him stay, but it never worked because where I lived wasn't my dad's home anymore. Even though my dad was in my life, my mom still had to pull a lot of the weight financially to take care of me and my little sister. So she worked a lot, and she often worked late into the night. And I remember being very worried most nights as I waited for my mom to come home because Jamaica is a very dangerous place, especially for young women. Every night on the news, it would be some picture of a young lady who was kidnapped and never seen again. So I would always worry that the night would come when my mom wouldn't come home. But thankfully, she always did. I remember I went through this phase where I would write little notes to my mom saying things like, I love you and I missed you, and then I would take the note and fold it into a paper plane. And then when my mom came home, I would fly it at her as she walked through the door. But a lot of times, she was so tired after working all day at the bank that she wouldn't even notice. At the bank too? The few times that she did, she wouldn't know to unfold the plane and discover the secret message. So eventually I stopped doing it because I thought I was just annoying her more than anything. She didn't understand what I was doing. In fact, I don't think I understood what I was doing. My mom always tried her best. She's a great mom. Eventually, my dad got a new family, and sometimes I'd go over there. And I remember thinking that it was interesting that I now had a little brother and sister from someone that wasn't my mom. I remember being jealous of them because they got to live with my dad. And I think because of that, I was never able to really connect with them. To this day, we aren't very close, you know? I'm not sure how old they are or what day their birthday falls on, even though my dad has told me a dozen times, and a part of me feels guilty about that because I am technically their big brother, you know? And look, life is messy. Both my parents have half brothers and half sisters, and they seem to be able to get along and, you know, be loving and all of that. So even though I don't feel like I have a duty to be this loving and involved big brother, a part of me does feel bad for not trying more. But not enough to try more. The way I look at it is,
I know exactly what he means by that.
My dad is my dad, and I love my dad a lot. But he's made certain choices, and those weren't my choices. So it just is what it is, if that makes sense. Truth be told, I think he's given up on wanting me to be more involved in their lives, you know, because if it hasn't happened yet, it's probably not gonna happen. And I think he gets it, because he gets me, and I know he loves me. Life's just messy, man. Eventually, my mom did remarry, so I have a stepdad, and my stepdad is the best kind of stepdad because he's never tried to be my father because I have a father. So he's just always done what he's supposed to do, which is take care of my mom. And I can tell that he really loves my mom a lot. You can see it. And my mom respects him as a man, which I'm really happy about because based on what I've seen, I feel like when a lot of women remarry after they have kids, it's usually to a man that can simply contribute, put food on the table. But you can see that she doesn't quite respect him the way she respected the father of her children, not allowing him to take the lead, and she ends up wearing the pants and calling the shots. But that isn't the case with my stepdad. And I think that's because my stepdad is in a lot of ways similar to my real dad, alpha male, ambitious, tall, strong. But unlike my dad, my mom met him when he was already in his 40s, already had a wife and kids in the past. So they were just looking for someone to marry, someone to love. And no one's perfect, but I'm glad that they're together. Also, he gave me another little brother, Micah. And although Micah is technically my half brother as well, as far as I'm concerned, that dude is 100% my little brother. Anything this kid asks me for, I get it for him because I love him so much. My only regret is that I'm not there physically to be his big brother because he still lives in Jamaica. I think the reason why I connect with him so much and care so deeply about him is because we came from the same place,
Yeah,
My mom, growing up with divorced parents does come with its perks, though. At least in my case, 2 birthdays, 2 Christmases, so twice as many presents, Pops had to make up for not being able to live with me somehow. And although new PlayStation games don't quite replace being able to live with your father, it's better than nothing. And that's not to say my dad hasn't.
Put on, right? Yeah, I bet.
And taught me a lot of valuable things.
Apex for him
the
to
most
do, man.
valuable thing he's taught me is how to be smooth. My dad is one smooth guy. It's really a double-edged sword when you think about it, because being that smooth is probably how he made my mom fall so in love with him, thus resulting in my birth. But it's also probably the reason their marriage didn't work out, because when you're that smooth, women notice. Like I said, ladies love my dad. He also gave me his smile and his jeans, you know what I'm saying? And without those 2 things, I wouldn't have half as many stories about girls as I do, to be honest. I honestly wouldn't change anything about my life or the way I grew up, because I love the person that I am today, even though I'm painfully aware of all of my imperfections and flaws. And trust me,
that video.
There are a lot, but still, I do love myself. I mean, I got it tatted on my wrist 3 years ago for a reason. Still, I would say that I don't want the same for my kids, I want my kids to grow up with both of their parents in the same house. Little boys and little girls need their fathers. I believe that boys need a strong masculine figure in the house, especially while they're still very young. And girls need a loving and attentive father, so they don't have to go out and seek that attention from selfish men. Moral of the story: life is messy, and for the most part, everyone is doing the best they can.
But if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet and you made it to the end of the video, you obviously like the video, so you obviously gotta subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, y'all. We on the road to 750 subscribers.